What is going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Schoch Factor Podcast. Not just any episode. This one, I am joined by one of the people who I personally look up to. I'm inspired by Parker Byrd of ECU Baseball.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing today,
Doing
Parker?
great, man. I'm glad to be on here.
I'm glad to have you. It's honestly, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, it definitely
your
has.
story's insane, which everybody's about to find out if they don't know already, which I think they should.
Right.
But it's just so cool, and like you have such a cool perspective on it. So thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course. Happy to be here. A visit to the jungle has been long overdue, and this is just a great culmination.
Heck yeah.
So I want to, of course, address the elephant in the room. First question. I'm sure you get asked it all the time, just from people looking at you. Mm-hmm. Are the curls natural, or is that something you put product into?
Nah, well, they are natural. Today's no product in it at all. It's kind of shower, just shake it out and just come. But sometimes if I'm rocking no hat for like the whole entire day, I'll put some hairspray in there just so it won't. Because my hair turns into an afro once it gets.
The humidity.
Yeah, the humidity here is insane, so it turned into an afro. But today's all natural.
That's impressive. I'm jealous. I wish I could do it. I mean, I would have guessed perm. That's just me, but that's just because it's so solid. So,
gotta be fake, right?
Yeah, it's like no way. But the college baseball journey has been a bit different than typical for most people, but the recruiting process, walk us through that because you committed pretty early.
Yeah, so I committed November 12th of my 9th grade year in 2018, so before I even stepped foot on a high school baseball field, I was committed. So, I mean, that definitely adds a little bit of pressure, but it's also a relief at the same time that process is over with, but you still got to perform either way, so people just kind of have higher expectations for you, which is fine because, as a baseball player, it's kind of what you want to live up to. And so I committed really early. I mean, East Carolina is always where I wanted to come to school. Both my parents came here, so I've always grew up just a Pirate fan. And so once they committed, I just pulled it right on site. And I was like, Coach, I'm ready to be a Pirate. And he's like, let's go. So ever since then, just been fully committed.
Yeah. Now, in your recruiting process, I mean, getting recruited that early is crazy. You got to be super talented.
Right.
I got one offer, and it was my senior year. I took it. But were you like talking to any other schools at the time? Or
yeah, I definitely was. I mean, it was really early, so I wasn't talking to probably as many as I probably could have. But talking to Duke, Virginia Tech. I was actually really interested in Virginia Tech just because I wanted to be an engineer at the time. So, I mean, that's a great engineering school. So I was talking to them really heavily, and then a few here and there, just a couple calls, but those were probably the two other main ones.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like your dad went here, your mom went here. They didn't meet here, but they had met and they had predetermined they were coming here kind of together, package deal.
Yeah,
so. My
dad definitely followed my mom here. My dad wanted to go to Carolina, which now he's super glad he didn't. But he wanted to go to Carolina like all growing up, and then my mom was determined to come here for nursing school, and my dad didn't even apply to Carolina because he didn't want to make the decision between Carolina and my mom. So he applied here, and that's it. And he got in, and obviously it worked out for the better. So.
That's such a cool story, and like it's such a great thing you're here. It makes me happy you're here. Now, part of your college journey, getting into it, of course, a month in, you get here in June, and then July comes around and you have your accident. So kind of what happened there? What was that experience like from your side?
Right. Yeah, it was weird because, I mean, it definitely was a turn of events. It's me and some of the freshmen last year were just going and having fun on the boat, and then an accident like mine happened, which is, I mean, it's not as rare as I thought it was because I'd never heard of somebody getting in a tubing accident like that. But afterwards, I realized, like, hey, this is a pretty serious, it happens a good bit. And so we're just having fun on the river. And the first day we actually went, and I was supposed to actually go home that Saturday, but Friday we went down after our morning workouts and stuff, and I had a good time Friday. I was supposed to take one of the guys back home that Saturday morning because he was supposed to help some elderly couple move some furniture. And he got called that morning saying, hey, Miles, thanks for volunteering, but we don't really need your help anymore. So we're like, hey, let's stay another day. Let's have more fun, right? So me and Dixon Williams got on the tube first, and first ride went good. And we got back on, second ride. The driver decided to go a little bit crazier than the first, and Dixon ended up falling off first. And then I hit a wave. The tube went way up in the air. And I hit the water really hard. So I was like, I have to get back to this boat, man. I'm in pain. So I swim back to the boat, and then as I got about 10 yards away, I was kind of using the rope to get me back into the boat, and the driver accidentally put the boat in reverse, and the rope got caught in the propeller and basically shot me under the propeller. So it was definitely weird. That day it seemed really long in the time, but I mean, I didn't know what the road ahead was. But so I was in the hospital for 4 weeks, and then that happened July 23rd. Got my leg amputated August 4th. And ever since then, I got out August 20th, and ever since then, I kind of been working hard to get to kind of where I am now.
Yeah, and that's one thing that like amazed me, because first, a lot of freshmen I'm not hearing about too often, especially not a month in.
Right.
And I hear about you, and I'm like, damn, wish I was hearing about him in other circumstances, of course. And so I start following along, and then the next thing I see is you hitting balls off of the tee, of course, with the prosthetic. And I'm like, how are you doing that so fast? Like, what was it for you that like allowed you to get back to it so quickly?
I think it's just really my mindset, just in general. I think my parents really installed a really good mindset in me and my sisters, and I think my dad's work. I see my dad and mom both work extremely hard in what they do. My dad's a doctor, as I told you. My mom, she's a nurse, but she stays at home with us now. So I seen her run around and take us to all the sporting events, practices, and my sisters were dancers. So she's been very busy with that. But so I just kind of seen how hard they worked, and I realized that, hey, I can't give up, and that's just kind of what I've gone by. And I actually had a couple moments during my hospital stay. And one time I was like, Mom, I'll never be able to play baseball again. And she was like, why do you think that? And I was like, well, Mom, there's never been a Division I baseball player with a prosthetic leg. And she goes, well, there always has to be a first. Why can't it be you? And so like ever since then, it kind of clicked like, hey, like I can be the first, and why not? So, I mean, why not try it at least, right?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah. And honestly, I truly believe if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be you. Just because, like, that mindset, like, again, a month later, I see you you might know the exact number of days later. But
well, as soon as I got out of the hospital, I was still in a wheelchair, and me and Dad came to the hitting facility, and I was just watching pitches off the machine and just sitting there in my wheelchair, just watching the velocity and doing virtual reality in the wheelchair. And as soon as I got out of the hospital, I was really like, hey, baseball is what I want to do, so let's do everything I can and give it the best shot I have. So then, from then, I finally got in a walker. I still had wound backs on and everything, and I started doing one-arm drills. And then I got my prosthetic leg, and then I started hitting with 2 legs. And then some modifications came along, like scissoring. I learned how to scissor in my swing, and just stuff like that. It's helped me tremendously.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You mentioned your sisters being dancers. I grew up, my sister was a dancer too.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What was the least favorite dance routine you had to
clogging.
go on?
I hated clogging competitions, man. They were terrible.
So
my older sister, I have a sister at 17 and 11 now, but the 17-year-old was a huge clogger. Like, she grew up clogging, and when she stopped around middle school era, but dude, I just remember going to those competitions, and it's so long and so loud, and it's just like, how do y'all enjoy this? And like, it was cool to see her have fun, but at the same time, that performance only lasted 2 minutes of your whole day.
But you're there for the whole day.
Yeah, and luckily my little sister, she was in the dance for a little bit, but she got out pretty quick, so.
That's huge.
Yeah, it was a big win for me.
Yeah, my sister would do the competitive dance. It was like travel dance. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
But I remember her class had a routine to put me in coach, which as a baseball player,
yeah,
you hear that song just about every day at the field.
Yeah, I have a similar song that you probably dread that song now, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, mine's Wagon Wheel by Darius Rucker. I cannot stand the song just because I heard it so many. Great song, just heard it so many times from clogging because that was their routine and that was their song. So
they clogged the wagon wheel?
Yeah, they sped it up a little bit and it was bad.
Would you ever like try to clog?
Nah. My cousin, who's a guy, he clogged on my sister's team, and he was like number 1 in the state, and he was really good, but he got out of it quick. He's like, yeah, that's it for me. Yeah, he got into baseball, and
that's a good call.
Yeah,
I was into clogging for a bit. I still am into clogging. It's way different now, though. It's usually after like Golden Corral or something like that. So it's
a little different.
It's a slippery slope. But switching gears a little bit, getting back into it, one of the first people from my research that came to see you was Coach Goblin.
Yeah.
As a player who's going through an injury like that, of course, your mind's got to be going a million different places.
Right.
What did it mean to see him there, just ready to be there for you?
Yeah, he was the first person at the hospital when my accident happened. I think the guys called him and was like, they called my parents first, and then they called him and was like, hey, told him what happened. And he met the guys at the hospital because we were about 45 minutes away. So he was actually with a recruit at the time, and he basically told him, hey, I have to leave and go to the hospital. And so he met the guys there. So, he's been there literally since the beginning of my accident. And, even before. I'm here for the coaching staff and the fans and all that. But, he's just been tremendous just because me and him talked for like an hour. He came into my room one time, and we talked for like an hour or two. And he had just gotten back from Team USA. Mm-hmm. So, we had a pretty good conversation. Just seeing him there for me was pretty big because just seeing that he believes in me just as much as I believe in myself is, pretty big because I think you need a support system like that just to get through hard times and to get to do something difficult kind of like I'm doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to have a coach who cares like that because, sure, it's all hindsight. I don't know if this coach would do it. You can't do that.
Yeah,
but, of course, just seeing a guy who he's hey, you're committed to our program, we're committed to you.
Right.
And just kind of putting his money where his mouth
exactly.
is really.
Yeah, definitely showed it with his actions that, hey, we're here for you no matter what. So, pretty cool. And
so one of the things you're mentioning is, or you have mentioned that's helped guide you through this, is your perspective on everything. And, you talk about your sisters joking with it, but that perspective, is it just something that you're born with? Is it something you learned over time?
Yeah. I think it goes back to my family and just, we're all kind of jokesters. So, that and my friends, we always have to have the positive outlook on stuff. So, why not make the best out of your situation? So, I think I was kind of born with it. I just kind of like to have fun no matter what. But when times like this happen, why not have a good time with it? So.
Yeah, and I love that, you're just like, hey, this is what life dealt me. I'm going to deal with it.
Go.
And I'm going to make something even more of it.
Right.
I'm going to go and make a name for myself with this happening, which it's an incredible thing. But I want to ask you, and this might be a weird question. You probably haven't been asked, but have you, found any perks from it happening? Because I don't like focusing on the negative either.
Yeah, no. There has been a handicap parking's really nice.
Really?
Yeah,
I always wondered. I'm glad you brought that up because I really wanted to ask what handicap parking is like.
Dude, it's nice. That's probably the biggest perk is because you don't have to walk as far.
Especially on a college
campus. I know. It's not as fun, but that's probably really nice. I try not to use it as much because I do know there's actually people that need it a lot more than me. But when I see there's a couple of them open, I definitely pull in there really quick. And my girlfriend gets mad, and my sister gets mad. Like, you have this free pass. Why don't you use it no matter what? But I just remember being in a wheelchair and seeing people parking the handicap, and they walk out totally fine. And I'm like, are you really need that? And then we had to park far away, and it was a struggle for my parents to get the wheelchair out and all that. And so I kind of understand what it's like to be actually needing the handicap. Yeah. So I try not to use it as much, but it is really nice, especially big concerts, big areas, I mean, they have a bunch of handicap parking. So
You're a way better guy than I, because dude, no one's gonna look at you and be like, "Why is he parking in that handicap spot?"
Yeah.
Again, nothing personal.
Yeah, no, definitely.
We notice.
Yeah, definitely. You can't hide it.
Yeah, it's like you got a great prosthetic, but we know. We know that's a little different.
See, we see you don't got a leg there.
Yeah, so I don't think you ever have to walk out in a handicap spot and be like, I hope no one sees this. I think you're good. So getting your prosthetic, that was an interesting experience too. So the Challenged Athletes Foundation helped you get it, right?
Right, yeah. So I had my first one that insurance paid for. I got that in December. And that's just like your standard walking leg. And I went to a local prosthetist here, Shane Coltrane, and he made a good leg. And but I needed something more like active, really. And so then Bob Babbitt, the founder of Challenged Athletes Foundation, reached out to my mom from really the beginning, and my mom was getting all these text messages, and he basically told me, hey, we're Challenged Athletes Foundation, this is what we do. When time's right, we'd love to help Parker and all this. And, my mom just replied with the generic, thank you so much, we'll get back in touch. And so she kind of forgot about it because of the whole situation. That's probably
there's a little bit going on.
Yeah, just a little bit. Very busy. So she totally forgot about it. And then Bob Babbitt reached out again after I got to the hospital. Everything was starting to become a little bit more normal. And he was like, hey, just to let you know that we're still here for you guys. If you need anything, like, awesome. We'd love to give Parker a grant for a leg. So then my dad was actually, he was commuting back and forth from here to Laurinburg, which is 2.5 hours away for work. So he was in the car like 5 hours a day at least. And so he was listening to a lot of audio books and stuff. And he was listening to David Goggins' book. And David Goggins did a marathon for Challenged Athletes Foundation to raise money. And so he heard that part, and then he got home that day, and he asked my mom, he was like, hey, have you ever heard of Challenged Athletes Foundation? She goes, oh, yeah, a guy just reached out to me about it. And my dad's like, what? You rather get all this food from people than actually something we really, really need? And so my dad, she gave that project to my dad because he needed something to do. So my mom's like, here's his contact, get in touch with him. So my dad got on the phone with Bob Babbitt the next day, if not that day. And basically they got me set up to go to Chicago to a prosthetist there named David Rotter, who's world class. Like, he's absolutely phenomenal. And he makes all the stuff for like Paralympians, and he actually created legs. And this guy was born with no hands or legs, and his goal was to play varsity baseball. And so he made both of his legs, and he made a socket for his arm that he could actually hold the bat, because before he was just kind of like modifying it the best he could. And so he made a socket for his like nub on his wrist, and like basically he could actually hold the bat. And I mean, the guys hit at big league parks and BP, and like I think he like one hop New York Yankees field. So I mean, the guy's legit.
That's sick.
And so I mean, this guy, the process is phenomenal. And so they sent us up there. We applied for the grant. They gave it to us, and I mean, they've really just been there ever since. And I actually went to a running clinic when I started learning how to run again, and there was guys that were amputees there that were Paralympians, and they were teaching me and a bunch of others how to run again or how to run better. And so I mean, they just been there the whole way.
Yeah. First of all, I love the thought of your dad going, look, he can't hit a home run with a plate of spaghetti strapped to his leg. Exactly. I'll handle that.
Let me get this. And he loves stuff like that. And I mean, Bob Babbitt's really been a blessing to me and my family and all the Challenged Athletes. And they've really just kind of gave me even more hope, because they show me people that are, I mean, absolutely doing great in life with prosthetic legs or just disabilities in general. And I actually got the opportunity to go up to the Hamptons this past summer and speak for a big fundraiser they have. So, I mean, that was pretty cool, just being in that environment. And just, I mean, there's a lot of money up there. So
yeah,
it was cool to see, because they had a live fundraiser, and like they had these paddles, and they were like bidding for like stuff, and like guys giving out $50,000 like it was nothing. I'm just like, I want to be like this.
Maybe one day.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty fun.
So it was a good experience.
So now when we're in the press box here at ECU, and we walked in, I saw you looked at the roster, you looked at your name, said 5'9". That's not true. At any point, did you think, hey, you know what? I'm getting this prosthetic. Maybe I'm 6 feet tall, you know? I mean, I'm sure it would be tough walking in circles.
Yeah,
but.
yeah, it was, I see double amputees that are like A cage, which is above the knee, and B cage, which is below. And I'm just like, man, I'm not jealous, but that's pretty cool that you get to pick your height. Because I'd definitely be 6'1", 6'2" if I could pick my height. But hey, I'm stuck with 5'9", really 5'10", but I would say 5'9".
Yeah, well, I'll round up for it. 5'10", we'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Did you like pick a shoe size? How is that?
I didn't. Work? So they asked me my shoe size, and I was 11.5, and they all right, we'll make it a size. So I was like, that's pretty cool. So I won't have to go buy two pairs of shoes.
Yeah. I was always wondering about
that. I know. That's
like,
good
is
question.
It one size fits all?
Yeah, I know. It's 11.5.
Well, that's
a black foot.
A little different than before, but hey, you know what?
Hey,
gets the job done.
That's right. So this one actually, speaking of the foot, so this one's is special because this line in the middle, that's it's called split toe. So basically, like the foot split in half, so I can push off, and it feels like I have a big toe. So before I went to Chicago to get this leg, I didn't really have that. Nobody besides David does that. So I went there, and then he did that, and I was like, dude, my first words were, oh my gosh, it feels like I have a big toe.
And you don't even have to clip it.
Yeah,
can't get athletes put on it. I mean, like,
there's a lot of perks.
Look, dude, you're thinking on the bright side. I'm right there with you. I love it.
Pedicures, and they're 50% off.
When you're at the store and they only have the display model of a shoe left, that's allowed to touch the ground.
That's hilarious, because this was like when I first got to the hospital. My parents thought we need to go get you new shoes, so we went to Dick's Sporting Goods, and I was still in a wheelchair, so it was that early, and I rolled in, and the guy's like, "You need help with anything?" I was like, "Yeah, we're looking for a shoe, just one." The guy didn't know how to take it, because a lot of people don't know how to take like jokes like that, because they don't know if you can laugh. I'm like, you can laugh, bro.
Yeah,
it's okay.
No, 'cause it's like one of those things where most people don't have this great outlook and perspective.
Yeah,
so.
I think I was in the hospital. I mean, I was pretty drugged up in general, but I was looking. I was like, dude, I need to find like a cartoon character for my profile picture on Instagram. And I was like, look, I looked up like one-legged cartoon guys, and then I saw the one that's my Instagram picture. I was like, dude, this is perfect.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, I had to keep it this. So it's kind of just. Okay, my profile pic, I hadn't changed it since.
I mean, it's great. When I looked you up on Instagram, because I followed you on Twitter.
Right.
I'm not like, oh, I got to follow that.
Yeah.
I should be better about it. And I will be. But I looked you up, and I was like, that's a great profile.
Yeah.
I clicked the profile. I immediately see your link as IHOP. I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. That's just like.
Try to get an NIL deal, man. I need to reach out.
They need to.
Dude,
they are missing out.
They really are. I mean, I could promote them well. I love pancakes, love syrup. I think it would be great. I think it's good for both of us.
It's mutually beneficial. It's like one of those things where it's a joke that would bring down the house.
Oh,
it would
definitely.
But they're probably worried, like, oh, is that correct?
Yeah, I know. With society nowadays,
I feel like you get to decide.
Exactly. I need to reach out for myself to let them know, hey, it's okay. I know you guys have been wondering for a while to reach out.
You guys have been itching. Yeah, I know it.
I know that it's definitely been on your guys' mind. So
yeah. And then one thing again with the Challenge Athletes Foundation I saw was you were down in Houston getting to throw out the first pitch. Yeah. What was that like? Have you always been a Houston fan growing up?
No, actually, I'm a Braves fan. So
okay.
It's a sad time right now, but I'm a huge Braves fan. Always have been. Both of my grandpa's a Braves fan.
Okay.
My dad's a Braves fan, so it just kind of passed down through the family. Same thing with the Commanders or the Redskins or whatever.
Sure.
But so I'm a big Braves fan, but my favorite player is Alex Bregman, just because I love his work ethic. He's a 5'9" guy himself, 5'10", so I kind of relate to him. And I think at LSU they called him Mr. 12 a.m. or something like that. He's talking about how he's always hitting. Mm-hmm. And I kind of related to that growing up because me and Dad would go to the batting cages at 1 o'clock in the morning. It didn't matter. I needed to hit. So I definitely kind of related to him. So I've loved him. And he wears number 2 because he got drafted 2nd overall, not brag about that, just more like, hey, I'm not first. So love his mindset, love everything about him. So Eric Cochran, who's actually producing a film on me, he's kind of with Challenge Athletes Foundation a little bit, but so he produced a film on a guy with no legs or no hands, and so he reached out to me or my mom and basically asked to produce a film on me as well. So he's in the process of doing that. So I mean that's pretty cool too. But he has really good connections to the Houston Astros. His uncle owns the Astros.
That's a pretty good connection.
He doesn't like to brag about it at all, but they do. So he got me in contact with them.
Oh, that's
awesome. They invited me down there to throw out the first pitch and watch BP before the games on the field, and I mean it was a surreal moment for sure.
Yeah, that's an awesome experience, and
cool.
I gotta say, it's a good thing you want to get into public speaking because it sounds like between the documentary and people interviewing,
definitely
you're gonna have to do it a lot.
It's inevitable. So.
It's a good thing you're already well spoken.
That's
so
right.
You are in a good position. Now, one of the things for college athletes, especially, like the schedules are packed.
Yeah.
They're always packed. Now, you get handicap parking, so you can get places a little bit faster.
A little bit faster, right.
But your schedule is particularly packed because you got rehab.
Mm-hmm.
You essentially had to relearn how to walk, how to run, and do everything. So what's your day-to-day life look like now?
Right. I mean, it's crazy. Last year, the whole year I was part-time, so my athletic clock wouldn't start. So this year I've had to make a huge adjustment just being full-time with school. And at first I had to figure it out, but I think finally now I've figured it out. But I mean, we have practice every single day almost, maybe like 1 day a week off. So I'm here from the field from like 1 to 6 every day. But I have rehab now once a week. It was twice, but ever since school started, we've just been going on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. and I have 1 class each day. So I have 5 classes.
That's beautiful.
2 in person and 3 online. So I wake up on Tuesday and Thursdays. I have a class at 9:30, and then on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays it's at 1. So I get my online work done whenever I can. I go to a Bible study with a couple of guys on the team on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 a.m. So we're up pretty early those days. So I'm typically up every day, and I've gotten into swimming a lot. It's kind of maybe one of my Paralympic sports once baseball's over with, but I've kind of got away from it since school started. I was pretty heavy on it during the summer, but I think I'm going to start back doing that this Monday. So on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm going to swim at 6 a.m. and then go to PT at 8 on Wednesdays, and then class on Thursday at 9:30. So.
I gotta know what swimming stroke is it? What are you
doing? Freestyle. That's the only one, really.
Okay.
Yeah. The other ones require like legs.
Okay. I was gonna.
That was just like your typical swimming.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I put a buoy in between my legs so my hips would stay up.
Oh, all right. Okay. Yeah. No, because I'm just going through it logistically.
Right. Yeah.
Like, how's that
work?
Because I'm already
just swim in a big circle.
Yeah. Honestly, like if you guys had like a NASCAR like pool, that could be something. I don't know. I didn't want to say
get a propeller as a prosthetic leg so it get faster.
Dude, your attitude about it all is just so amazing. And I really appreciate you taking the time just to talk to me and share your story because, I mean, like, no one's done something like this before, or maybe someone has, but nothing like the way you're doing it. But before we let you go and get on with your day and your busy life, I want to ask, where can our listeners find you? Where can they follow you?
Yeah.
Where can they, like, what are your social medias, essentially?
My Instagram is Parker Byrd with 2 D's, BYRD. I think my Twitter is Parker Byrd 11. I think that's the number that they gave me. I don't know why it's 11, but it's 11. And I think that's all of them.
All right. And then last thing, I looked for you on TikTok, and I stumbled on
Parker Byrd with 2 D's again, I think.
Yeah, he's consistent.
Yeah, I am. I like to have the same usernames.
This is how I knew it would be a lot of fun to interview you, is when I was doing my research, I found a video of you in a hospital bed, and your sister was in front, and y'all were just dancing, like vibing, and I look at the date, and it's like right near the accident date, and I'm like, all right, this kid, like his mindset is just...
My sister, she during that time especially, it felt like she was making TikTok every day, and like especially when she'd go to the hospital, she'd love to use me in the videos. She'd get a couple more likes, and so she actually had a couple videos during that time go pretty viral, and like one of them was, I remember it was a joke because we were joking in the family, but it was like daughter with 2 legs, and the other one she panned it to me as like brother with or son with 1, and the whole comment section was like, "You're so wrong for this. You're so mean." And me and Grace were just sitting there dying,
you're just
laughing
the whole time. No, so, I remember I saw that one too because I did a research. I was like, okay, if there's one, there's multiple.
And then I had that one. I think it's because I don't make TikToks often, but when I was in the wheelchair, still in the hospital, and I had the all my fluids and stuff. It was like, you see me rolling.
It's just like, I love how it's just, you know what? I've been dealt a crappy hand right here.
Right.
But there's still things to be happy about. There's still some good things in this hand, and I'm going to just focus on those.
Let's draw a +4 course.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, let's draw the +4, take the burden off me a little bit, and have some fun while we do it.
Why not?
But thank you so much for joining the podcast.
You,
I really appreciate it.
Heck yeah. I had fun.
If there's anything you ever need, I'm here for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Go Pirates.
Of course.
Thank you. Thank you.
Parker Byrd is the type of dude you should want your kids to be like. He's been dealt a tough hand in life and has done nothing but keep a positive attitude through it all, which I could never do. Going through what he has gone through, anyone would understand if he were down in the dumps, down about himself or sad, but he just doesn't let that happen. I don't care who you are, the strength this kid shows day in and day out is just simply amazing. Another thing I want to comment on is just the Byrd family as a whole. It's truly amazing how they all have rallied around Parker and helped him get through this tough time. He mentioned one way he stays loose and kind of keeps an upbeat attitude about it is just the humor that he and his family have about just the whole situation. I mean, the kid was telling me about looking for a cartoon with a one-legged man in it to make his Instagram profile picture while sitting in a hospital bed. Who does that? Anyway, he also told me that his younger sisters really helped keep him loose and make light of an otherwise pretty heavy situation. I think my favorite part was hearing how hard he laughed as he explained that his sisters have him saved in their phones as either Pogo Stick or the Pixar lamp, depending on which sister you ask. But Parker is just a phenomenal example of dealing with adversity and an example of the fact that laughter is really the best medicine. I don't mean to sound all corny or like a Hallmark movie, but when you meet a dude with one leg who is genuinely happier than just about everyone else I've met in life, it really puts things into perspective. And for all those reasons, I'm literally sitting on the edge of my seat with excitement for the day I get to tweet out, Parker Byrd becomes the first Division I baseball player with a prosthetic leg. And after meeting the kid, I know it'll happen. Thank you all so much for listening to this week's episode of the Schoch Factor Podcast. Please make sure to leave a review and let me know how I did, because I don't know if I'm good at this. I would like to be, and your feedback helps. As always, thank you to Soldier Sports for sponsoring the Schoch Factor Podcast on the D1 Baseball Podcast Network. That's all I got for this episode, but I look forward to talking with y'all again this Thursday when another phenomenal episode with Mike Rooney is coming out to your ear holes soon. Have a great rest of your week, and I appreciate you.